Welcome back to Trade 360. Time for our 360 round. We're diving into the state of crypto. For that, I want to bring in our panel to discuss Bitcoin reclaiming 100,000 and Coinbase's latest results. We've got Joy Yang, head of product management at Market Vector Indexes, and Ryan Rasmussen, senior crypto research analyst at Bitwise. Our thanks to both of our guests for joining us. Joy, I want to start out with you and your take on Bitcoin reclaiming this 100,000 level. Even when we see some softening in equities today, we still see Bitcoin holding on to an advance. What do you make of this? Is it just a psychological level?
Well, it's definitely a psychological level, but it's a meaningful level because it's also showing Bitcoin evolving as an asset class or as an investment vehicle, not just for retail players, but for institutional and sovereign players. And that's demonstrated by the flows into Bitcoin ETFs. So, we know it's a volatile asset class or asset itself.
Right.
But, we've seen more recently that volatility coming down. It's actually less volatile than stocks.
Than equities have been.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think it's demonstrating its use case as a store of value, but also it's decentralized, right? So it's not tied to any government. And more importantly, trust is built into the code.
Okay. All right, Ryan, I want to hear your take as well on Bitcoin back above 100,000, above 102,000 at this moment. What's your view? Do you see it as a psychological? Do you share similar views to Joy?
Yeah, great to be here with you. I do share similar views as Joy does around where Bitcoin is at today and the spot it holds in investors' minds. We spend a lot of time at Bitwise speaking with institutional investors, financial advisors, RIAs, family offices, and they are viewing Bitcoin as a hedge against geopolitical uncertainty, fiscal uncertainty. And it's exactly that. It's this untethered asset that isn't tied to the traditional financial system. It's not controlled by any central bank. As Joy mentioned, it's all driven by the underlying code. And for that reason, investors are looking at Bitcoin as a way to escape the chaos of tariffs, of inflation, of federal debt. And that's why we believe that investors are going to continue to adopt Bitcoin in their portfolios.
Joy, I'm curious to know how you think about this momentum. Do you see this as a sustained breakout, especially, when you look at it being less correlated to equities? Because, for instance, earlier in April, it was more correlated to the price action we saw there. But do you feel like this is sustainable now and the outperformance that we're seeing when we think about Bitcoin, especially in its leadership of crypto compared to equities, for instance?
It's sustained, but also Bitcoin has its own cycles. So I think anytime that you have these fast momentum, you're going to see people take profit off the top. And we've seen that with gold, too. So you've seen the same type of momentum driving gold. But these are meaningful levels because, as Brian mentioned, people are looking for an alternative to traditional asset classes where they're seeing diversification and correlations breaking down, and it's very much tied to all of these policy and government, actions coming on board.
Ryan, I'm curious to know your views on how Coinbase performed in its latest quarter, right? They missed on revenue. The stock has been under a little bit of pressure today. It hasn't performed as well, although many had seen in the crypto community, I guess, like it should be moving more closely to Bitcoin. Why doesn't it move like that?
Look, Coinbase had a tremendous quarter, all things considered. And I think the reason that it isn't moving in lockstep today with the rise in Bitcoin or other crypto assets that we've seen is that fundamentally most investors, and particularly Wall Street, just don't understand Coinbase's business model. They still view Coinbase as a trading application, but in reality, Coinbase is a sleeping giant. It's the custodian to the US crypto ETF market. It has the most successful L2 on Ethereum. It has profit sharing agreements with one of the largest stablecoin issuers, fast growing subscriptions business, scaling staking. It just continues to grow and expand into the crypto ecosystem. And so I think any short-term decoupling from the price of crypto assets will likely be offset by the long-term gains in Coinbase. And we're still excited about the future of Coinbase. I think it was a tremendous quarter by a number of metrics.
Joy, I'm curious to know your thoughts. I also talked to another expert in the crypto space earlier, and his view was that Wall Street doesn't know how to value Coinbase. What's your thought?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a crypto beta play. So to the extent investors don't understand crypto assets, the valuations are going to be all over the place, right? But very much this is a risk-on play also because the volatility is so high. You know, it's one of the most risky stocks out there. So it's going to make headlines. And yesterday we saw that it had this acquisition for a derivative that drove the price up. And then earnings came out and price went down. But it's going to also respond to headlines. And right now we're seeing positive information coming out of some of the trade talks. So, you know, people are thinking risk on again. So you're going to see continued volatility, and people forget it's down year to date 17%, but at one point it was down 40%, and then it went up 40%. Yeah. So I think that's the nature of being a very risky asset.
Yeah, look, and I mean, to be fair, it has underperformed. Unlike Bitcoin, it has underperformed the S&P 500 for Coinbase. Still seeing some pressure today. We'll have to leave our conversation there for time. Our thanks to both Joy Yang, Head of Product Management at Market Vector Indexes, and Ryan Rasmussen, Senior Crypto Research Analyst, Bitwise. Thank you both for the breakdown on the state of crypto.